first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Everyone, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you for joining us. Taking a look right now out there at our Shriners Camp of downtown Portland. Obviously, it looks pretty nice. And as you probably know, there is a heat wave coming. Some really high temperatures that are going to be coming into the area, kind of starting today, but really going through the weekend, getting into the 100-degree range, and we're going to be talking all about that today. And to do so, we're going to actually be covering some of the main things to worry about when it comes to your pets. It's a very important thing to consider, and you know, these high temperatures can certainly be detrimental to them. But when is the safe time to get them outside? When is the safe time to take them for walks? To cover all of that, right now we are joined by Hannah Marshall from DoveLewis. And Hannah, thank you very much for joining us here today to talk about this. I myself have a very big dog, which I have to make sure that I'm careful with this during these high temperatures. But I think anybody with a pet definitely has to be concerned. And to start off, can you kind of walk us through what some of the main things are that people should be considering during this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important to be really cognizant of the fact that these temperatures are not normal for our area, and our pets are not adjusted to them just as we are not. And so we really want to maximize their safety by thinking about keeping them out of the direct sun, keeping them out of the outside at those really intense heat times during the day. You can prioritize early or late walks, barring your schedule in life and all of that, but really minimizing the length of time they're outside and getting that exposure to the direct heat is going to be really important for your pets to stay nice and safe. You also want to think about their paws. So if you are walking them outside or need to be outside for longer time periods, they're not wearing the shoes that we are. So if the concrete or pavement is really hot to touch to your hand, it's definitely going to be hot to their paws as well. Same thing goes for sand or any dirt if you're out by the water or on some hiking trails that are exposed directly to the sun. You just want to be really cognizant that their paws are taking a lot of that heat directly. So just keeping an eye on their feet, giving them lots of access to cool water frequently, and really watching for signs of heat intolerance are going to be really important over the next few days here.
With that, as far as the hot temperatures on the sidewalk, I've heard, and I don't know if this is right, that you can put the back of your palm to it, and if it feels too hot to you, then it's too hot for the paw. Is there an accurate way to assess that, the correct way anyway?
I think that's a pretty good gauge, honestly. When in doubt, really try to err on the side of caution. And if you're concerned, then just skip that midday or just wait a couple more hours or make it really short for them, or just try somewhere with a lot of grass or something that's going to be a lot more comfortable for them in general. Keep them in the shade if you can, especially if they are outside for any period of time, and just really minimizing long periods of time outside. And definitely do not keep them in your cars right now. No closed windows, not even for a minute. It can be incredibly dangerous in a very short time period. So those are important things too.
Yeah, definitely something important I think that a lot of people need to realize too. Just even cracking that window is not going to be enough for that if you're leaving your pet in your car.
Exactly. Just leave them at home, leave them in a nice, cool environment. If you got to run somewhere or do some errands, just try and prevent any potentials, because even a minute could be too long.
Anything else that you think is important just for people to be considering and taking note of, during this kind of high temperatures? I mean, you covered quite a bit there, but even going back into making sure that there's enough water, do you need to double that amount? Do you need to just watch out for other kinds of things along those lines?
Yeah, it's mostly just watching for signs of them not tolerating the heat. So really excessive panting. You can take their temperature if they're super tolerant or you're really concerned about it at home, but not something that you actually need to monitor at any given time. If you have a pet that has a short nose, so our French bulldogs, English bulldogs, that type, they are going to be much more heat intolerant than any of the other breeds. So just being extra cognizant of those breeds if you own them, and really keeping them in a cool environment in front of fans, air conditioning, whatever you have access to, and minimizing their intensity of exercise and walks right now is really important. It's nice to enjoy the sun, but we want to make sure that they're staying really safe, and we don't want you to have to bring your pet to the ER during this nice holiday weekend. Everyone should be enjoying, but definitely make sure you keep a close eye for those signs where they're looking exhausted, really low energy, or really out of it, disoriented would be really big, scary signs that maybe be having a bad reaction to the heat.
Yeah, and just to reiterate those points too, for people, for those things to watch out for. So you mentioned being disoriented, maybe if they're panting a lot. Are there any specific things that you can watch out for just to make sure that if your pet is showing signs of that you can recognize it?
Yeah, so first of all, it's likely going to be related to them just doing some exposure in the heat. So either after a walk or doing some sort of exercise, which again, try to minimize if you can. But they'll be the biggest clue in is that they're really out of it, really not aware. They may have really quick onset of diarrhea and be stumbling around. If they're super severe, you might start to see little bruises on them really quickly just from what's happening inside the body. That's pretty rare, and they need a really high heat exposure for that. But mainly if they seem really disoriented, it's a good thing to cool them down a little bit, but prioritize getting them to a veterinarian as soon as you can if you are seeing those things.
All right. Well, all really good advice there on things to look out for and to make sure that you're being aware of when it comes to your pets. Anything else that you think is important? I know we've covered quite a bit there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just be vigilant, stay safe, and when in doubt, just leave them inside and leave them in a cool environment.
All right. Oh, that's one other quick question. I mean, is taking the dog maybe to a water park or something like that to waterfronts to get into a lake or river, is that something that's safe to do during a heat wave?
You can consider those things, but think about if you're walking far distances from your parked car, however you need to get there. If it is just pure sun exposure, they may be in the water a lot, but they're going to be drinking a lot of that water. And then if they get out of it, they're kind of baking in the sun too. So even if there is water, you're by the lakefront, they may be getting a lot more heat exposure than you realize. And so honestly, in some situations, it's almost safer just to leave them at home during these moments and during these really high heat wave times, even if there is water near.
All right. Well, Hannah, thank you very much for your time. I know that you guys are all really busy here, and thanks for doing what you do and getting this information out. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Thanks. All right, and for everybody watching too, this is Fox 12 Now, so we are live here every weekday starting around 1 p.m. Pacific. We cover a wide range of topics, and we're talking about this upcoming heat wave, and we've got lots of details about that at kptv.com, but we are going to be covering some more of this coming up at 2 o'clock. We're going to talk about, well, we talked about animals. We'll talk about plants as well, so what to do with that. Certainly, I know I lost a lot of plants last year during the heat, but I'm not very good at taking care of mine, so we've got some better advice there on what to do for when it comes to the plant side of things. Coming up at 2 o'clock. At 1:30, we've got another segment about a local movie. So lots of things throughout the afternoon to watch here. Don't forget you can download the Fox 12 Oregon app and click on that Fox 12 Now tab. And you can watch all of our segments and share them as well. But we'll take a break for right now. We'll be back soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.